Hello, my name is Michael Smith, and I am here to welcome you to part 2 of Strategy in 5 Steps, which I've subtitled Allocating Precious Resources for Their Highest and Best Use. For you to make the most out of this session, let me set a foundation by reviewing what we talked about in part 1 of how do I put together a really good strategy. I gave you 5 steps, and the first was to set a goal or determine what your why is, which we covered in one of the early sessions of the Best Game model. The second thing is to come up with a set of rules about how you're going to accomplish your why or your goal. And then thirdly, get a vision, develop a set of future facts, which we worked on in our first part of how to develop strategy in 5 steps. And now we're going to talk about how to put together a set of SMART goals, which will end up in measurement and then communicating that measurement. My goal for this session complements the goal we had in the first session, which was to give you some tools that will help you determine and implement your strategy. The first time we talked about future facts mostly, and then we are also in this session going to talk about SMART goals. And what are really good SMART goals? Well, SMART is an acronym that stands for a set of words that'll give you a good tool to get important things done. Let's focus on each one of those letters, and we'll start with the S. The S is specific, and specific in the sense of who is going to accomplish the goal. Let's name a person. What are we going to accomplish? Why is it important to even accomplish this or take this goal on? And how are we going to do it? Who is the champion? And my experience is it's really important to name a single person who can be responsible for reporting on the goal, who can request help, who is the decision maker. Second part is, what are you going to do? And in this one, use good action verbs like the ones that are listed here to really share that cool things are getting done. This is action oriented, which is actually one of the letters. But also talk about why it's important to do this at this time. What is it that you want to ultimately accomplish? And use the words in order too. So if I wanted to lose 10 pounds in the next 6 months by walking 4 times a week, the importance of that is in order to live a full and conscious life, to avoid illness. And then talk about how you're going to do it. And the example I just gave about losing weight by walking 4 times a week. Be specific about how you're going to do that. The second letter is M, which stands for measurable. And measurable, the idea here is if you can't measure it, you really can't manage it. And I wish I could say I made that up, but somebody else did. But it's an axiom that really proves true. And what you want to do here is to accomplish concrete criteria for measuring progress towards the attainment of each goal. In the broadest sense, the whole goal statement is a measure for the project, and if the goal is accomplished, there is success. However, there are usually several short-term or small measurements that can be built into the goal. Think of these as like, and I'm going to use a football analogy, think of them as first downs, which might be small wins to help motivate people along the way to bigger goals. Choose a goal with measurable progress so you can see the change occur. And be specific, like I want to read 3 books of 100 pages before my birthday. That shows the specific target to be measured. I want to be a good reader is not measurable. Establish concrete criteria for measuring progress toward the attainment of each goal you set. And when you measure your progress, you stay on track, you reach your target dates, and you experience the exhilaration of achievement that spurs you on with the continued effort required to reach your goals. The next letter in the SMART goal model is A, and that stands for action-oriented. When you identify goals that are important to you, you begin to figure out ways you can make them come true. You develop the attitudes, abilities, skills, and financial capacity to reach them. You begin to see previously overlooked opportunities to bring yourself closer to the achievement of your goals. An action-oriented goal produces results. Identify what you or your team want to produce. Don't just think about making an area of your own organization better. Decide what you will actually do to make it better. Action-oriented goals can be measured. Use action verbs in the goals that you set. Include benchmarks and dates in your action plan when you're working on these action-oriented goals. The third area is relevant. And relevant doesn't mean just everything is related to the business. It means relevant to what your why statement is, relevant to what your rules are. Your SMART goals must always answer the question, what's in it for me or them, for everybody concerned. If the goal is not relevant or doesn't make your mission a reality, or it can be accomplished by playing by your rules and get your organization a little closer to an established future fact, you shouldn't allocate scarce and precious resources to getting it done. It's a great basis upon which to make really good decisions. Finally, the T in SMART goals stands for tied to a date. Tied to a date is about setting a framework for the goal, for the next week, for the next 3 months, or by whatever the next awards assembly might be. If you don't set a date, the command is too vague. It tends not to happen because you feel you can start at any time. Without a time limit, there's no urgency to start taking action now. Putting an endpoint on your goal gives you a clear target to work towards. Let's do a quick review. In this session, we talked about strategy in 5 steps: goal, rules, vision, which are future facts, putting together SMART goals, which is what we focused on in this session, and finally measurement, which is what we'll tackle in the next one. We talked specifically in this session that SMART goals are specific for the S, measurable for the M, action-oriented for the A, relevant for the R, and finally T, tied to a date. As you recall, we had a goal for this particular session was to give you the second of 2 tools to help you implement strategy and SMART goals. So the question, I guess, is, did we have success? That's for you to make a decision about. But in any case, I look forward to sharing with you the last session, which will be about measurement. And every good game has measurement or feedback on performance. I think you'll really enjoy the last session or the last tool. I'll look forward to talking to you then.